There are three ways to create a project in Pyká. The first way is to create a new project from scratch. To do this, we'll click the New Project button. This will take us to the Create New Project panel. Most project management systems or methods organize things in a hierarchy using descriptors. For instance, your project data might be a series of folders. At the top level, you might have a client name. Then below that, you might have a year. And then below that, you might have something like a campaign title. In a search engine, those are three search terms. The problem with the old way of doing things is, if you forget even one of those descriptors, for instance, the year, you then have to scour your library for the project or asset you're searching for. This system for organizing things wastes time and energy. The other problem with traditional methods for storing projects is the duplication of assets. If the same asset exists in two projects, it exists twice on your hard drive. As a result, the project management system wastes valuable space. These are two areas where Pyká excels. Pyká organizes everything using the power of its search engine. Instead of digging to find your projects and assets using information you may or may not remember, Pyká works with any information you do remember. And instead of storing the same asset every time it's used in a project, Pyká stores assets only once. So reusing common assets like photos, movies, spreadsheets, logos, and other files won't cost you extra space in a Pyká library. Remember, Pyká is diligently working at all times to make sure that no information is duplicated. But there will be more on that later. To make your project as searchable as it possibly can be, let's populate this form. The key is to add as much information about the project that you can possibly think of to make it searchable. First things first, let's give our project a name. At this point, we can technically continue, but let's keep going. Second, let's decide who this project belongs to. It can be a client or a department. The question is, who is this being created for? Third, let's decide if this project is part of a campaign. Pyká uses campaigns to group projects together. Many times, projects exist as one of a series of other projects. The campaign field allows Pyká to track the project in relation to other projects being created for a similar event or goal. Fourth, let's add some categories. This next step might be the most important part of the project creation process. Categories are what make your project searchable because while you may not remember something like the year you made your project, you'll almost always remember other details about it. Let's type everything we can think of, from the type of the project to the themes of the project to any specific persons, places, things, or descriptive words that make this project unique. Pyká uses comment separation to create category tags. So when you've thought of a good category, add a comma to turn it into a tag, so you can add the next category. Some people have specific IDs for tracking and billing projects. This is yet another way we can make a project more searchable. If you use a project tracking ID system, enter your project ID here. Finally, we have the description field. This is the field where we describe our project to anyone who views it. One more thing before we move on. If you wished to import an existing project folder, click the Select button, navigate to the folder you wish to import, select it, and click Open. This will make your Pyká project a perfect copy of the folder you selected. If you choose to import a folder, Pyká will make an educated guess as to when this project was created. Be sure to check the date to make sure Pyká guessed correctly. Once we're finished adding information, Pyká wants to know what we want to do with the project we're about to create. We can create the project and open it, which grants us the ability to make changes. We can create the project and send it to someone else, or we can create the project and close it, which simply uploads the new project to the Pyká library. For now, let's create and close our project. The second way we create a project is by importing a Pyká project file. Pyká project files are an easy way to save a project outside of a Pyká library. They contain every version of your project, every asset your project has used, and all the searchable info about your project. They're also an easy way to pass projects between Pyká libraries. This comes in handy if you have to share a project with someone who doesn't have access to your Pyká library. To import a Pyká project, click the Import button. Select the Pyká project you wish to import and click Open. From here, Pyká sends the project to the managing user to process into the library and will appear shortly thereafter. The final way we create projects is by clicking and dragging them from the Finder into our library's visualizer. Pyká will ask us if we want to import the files in this folder or import the whole folder as a project. The reason Pyká asks this is because sometimes you might want to add a folder full of assets to a library without creating a project. For instance, you might have a folder full of images you intend to use in your projects in the future. If you're importing just the assets and don't want to create a project, click Import as Assets. If you're importing a project folder, click Import as Projects. If you clicked Import as Projects, then Pyká will bring up a Create New Project form. Pyká will guess the project title and the project date based on the contents of the folder. Just like before, we need to change and add as much information that we can to make this project searchable. Then when you're finished, choose one of the three options to create the project. Let's send this project to Elise so she can get working on it. Click Create and Send, then select the user you want to send it to. If you want to watch this project as the user makes changes to it, click Send and Watch. If you don't want to watch this project, just click Send Project.